Can you walk us through what you saw and how you were able to get out?
Well, kind of the lightning and noisy, rain kind of don't let me really sleep. And I started hearing little noises in my window, like kind of like little taps from maybe a little rocks or something. And then after that, I started hear like bubbling noise from water. And then I kind of like catch my attention, and so when I wake up, so when I put my feet in the floor, there was already about my ankles. So I was, I got so scared. So I called my husband. My husband was sound asleep, and I was telling Felipe, "We're underwater. Look at the water is so high." So he was sound asleep. So he was kind of how do you say, disoriented. He said, what is it? What is it? I said, no, I don't know where it comes from. So I went to the bathroom and I can see everything. The water was from the top, from the toilet and under those walls. So, it was kind of like rushing, scared, because I can see it was rising the water real quick. So the only thing we can do is just put something on there. And then I put some kind of leggings and put my shoes, and I told them we need to get out. Okay, by the time we go into the living room, we walk to the living room, which is, my house is not too big. It was already, the water was, I say,
to the belly, all the way up to the belly.
We got, so it was kind of, we got the water up to the belly.
Wow.
And then the door was stuck when we tried to open it. It was stuck. It was scary. Because the water was in my mind, we're gonna die here. And my husband, Felipe, tries to real hard to pull the door. He opens it, and when it opens, all the water come up, from the outside. So, and then there was another door, which was the screen door. So he pulled it and kicked it, and I don't know what he did, and he broke it. He broke the screen door, so we got out. I was kind of, at that time, it was the water rushing higher. So he just pulled me from my hand, and then we got out. And then, after that, we tried to get in one of our cars, and I noticed the water was rising quick, and I was, no, Felipe, let's go outside of the car because we're going to get stuck in here. The water is not going to let us to get out of the car.
Right.
So we did run to our neighbor, which is in front of that house. It was a neighbor. They have light and everything. And when we get out, as soon as we get out of the house, I can hear those windows cracking, popping, because the water.
Did you have to swim to your neighbor's house, or were you able to actually get there on foot?
No. And that part of my house is kind of deep. So that's why we have the water up to the chest. But when we got kind of 3 steps up with our car, ¿cómo se llama? Donde parqueamos las trocas. When we have our trucks parking, it was a little higher. So after we noticed that it was going to be rising the water, we ran to our neighbor.
Did you have any kind of warning? Did you have any kind of alert on your cell phone? Any kind of alarm going off alerting you?
Yes, in the cell phone, we have an alert, but we always do. We always do these alerts in the cell phones, and it was kind of like, it wasn't like this, So we kind of get, how do you say, confident? Yeah. We got confident because they're not going to, it's going to be maybe flooding, but not this much on the water. In the 24 years of we living there, we never had this.
Never seen anything like it.
No, not even close to this. No.
So what's next for both of you?
Well, right now, it's all over. And we just thankful to God, that we are alive. Right now we're with our daughter because our house is completely destroyed. They took our house and everything inside. They took our 2 trucks. My husband and I have a car and he has his truck. I mean, I have a acá era la troca mía. I have an Armada, truck, and it has its
Well, we're
own
thankful
truck.
that both of you got out safely. Thankfully that you
Yes.
are alive today, but I know some of your neighbors were not so lucky. But thank you so much
No.
for sharing your story with us.
Thank you very much for saying about that.
And in fact, I was talking to a resident yesterday. Her name is Kelsey Cravey. She was describing to me an incredible rescue that happened on the morning of July 4th in the dark hours of the night when those floodwaters came through. And it was thanks to the kindness of perfect strangers that her mom and stepfather are alive today. Take a listen.
So she put her feet down, and that's when she stepped into the water and was like, why is there water on the floor? Like, what's going on? And then just instantly to their knees, to their waist. And that's when they started panicking. And so he took the shower curtain rod down, and they started trying to poke a hole into the roof. And when they realized that they didn't have enough strength or the pull, they opened the window and started shining flashlights outside of the window, just screaming, hollering, and finally they heard a semi-truck honking the horn, and that's when they started screaming even louder, hey, we're home, we're in here, we're in the home, we're in the home. And two men said, okay, we'll get you out.
And they did get them out. Take a look at this picture. This is the exact moment that Kelsey's mom and stepfather were rescued by three men from their mobile home. The men were complete strangers. They do not know their names, but all they did was see a need, and they didn't look away.
I would like to thank them too, or if I could find out who they are and say thank you, and just, they mean the world to me.
I mean, think about that, the perspective. I mean, you have some men saving your family, and you're not even able to say thank you because you don't know who they are. You don't even know where they were from. They may not even be locals to this area. But the fact of the matter is, they were courageous. They wanted to help, and they did help. They likely saved her mother and stepfather's life. Again, it's just one of the many, many stories of heroism that we're seeing out here in Kerrville.
Right, Madison, we're hoping by sharing this story that hopefully those three good Samaritans can come forward and say, hey, that was me. But just thinking back to the panic and the anxiety that couple was feeling, not even knowing if those were going to be their last moments and holding on to each other so tightly and then getting that hope. I imagine that those three good men probably felt like angels that had come. What a miracle.
A complete miracle. And the story gets even crazier because what they didn't realize at the time, you're going to see some pictures of the damage of that mobile home. But while they were in the bathroom, their mobile home was actually floating down the Guadalupe River. It was no longer on its concrete slab. It had been wiped away in the initial floodwater. And it's a moment that Kelsey tells me takes her breath away.
She said the water started going down, so she thought it was over with, but that's truly when it lifted off the pad and started floating. And so whenever they got out, that's when she was like, oh, I don't even recognize any of these other homes. Where am I?
And Kelsey's story, just one of the hundreds of stories of rescues that we know have happened along this stretch of the Guadalupe on the morning of July 4th. Again, so many of these rescues happening in the darkest hours of the morning because, again, that flood happened right around 3 o'clock. That's when the water started rising, and that's when everyone started trying to escape what was just immediately rising water. We've heard that the water got as high as 26 feet in some areas. To put that in perspective, that is a 2-story building. So you think about how high a mobile home is and how easily swept away it was in the floodwaters. I mean, Carmen, it's just one example of strangers turning compassion into action, and it's incredible to see it. It's positivity like that that keeps this town and this community going.
That's right. That's proof that you can actually happen to be at the right place at the right time, and that's certainly what those three good Samaritans were doing. Madison, thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Authorities continued their rescue and recovery missions in central Texas today as the death toll from last week's catastrophic flooding now surpasses 100 people. CBS News Texas reporter Bo Evans spoke to several survivors in Kerrville, including two sisters who were reunited with their family after their summer camp was evacuated.
This was our paradise, but now it's all gone. I mean, it's gone. It's just, there's nothing left.
Nothing left. The RV park Lorena Gian owns with her husband in Kerrville was wiped away in less than an hour.
Within 20 minutes after that water had come all the way up here, it was all the way over there where the patio is. I mean, that is a 500-year-old flood.
RVs are quite literally wrapped around trees. A kayak hangs 20 feet in the air. Cars buried under rocks and mud.
It was just incredible, the force of nature of that moment.
People swept away.
Just here with me, I have 6 people missing that we don't know their whereabouts, that family of 5, that I'm praying that somebody gonna rescue them down below.
Across town, hundreds of family members waited anxiously to be reunited with the girls from Camp Waldemar.
As reports came in that we saw the image of the Camp La Junta cabin floating downstream, and started hearing about a cabin at Camp Mystic that floated downstream. It became, it was an emotional day.
Rob Sell and his wife drove down from Fort Worth and were there when the buses arrived with their daughters.
There's a little hole that you could see through my window because I was on the top bunk, and I looked down and I saw water.
So when I slept, I heard like this loud thunder, and it was silent, but I knew I don't want to be worried, so I just thought that God was with me and that I can sleep the night.
Can you tell me what that first hug felt like when you got them back in your arms?
I had to wait a minute for them to hug their mom first. I'm kind of chopped liver, but ultimately when I did get the hugs, they were really sweet.
A really sweet moment on an incredibly hard day.
The only thing that is going through my mind right now is like, what now? How are we gonna move forward? I mean, who is gonna, help with this?
In Kerrville, Bo Evans, CBS News, Texas.
Now, earlier today, I spoke to a woman who was camping with her family just 1 mile away from the deadly Guadalupe River floods when they found themselves in the path of disaster. Lucretia Bates said she noticed the river rising and decided to evacuate despite no alerts or warnings.
There were other people still trying to go tubing down the river that morning as we were packing up, and it was pouring.
Even though the river had risen that much and people were being told, you know what, it might be time to go, there were others that were getting in tubes to ride the river down.
Yes. And I just couldn't believe it. And so, I just thought to myself, and I began to kind of look up, what had happened. And that's when I found out that, it was very catastrophic. As we were checking out, my husband told the office, like, hey, we're checking out. We were supposed to stay an extra night. He said, we're gonna go. And so she said, okay, we're thinking about evacuating. I was just kind of like, wow. But, by the time we got to the gas station to gas up, we heard the sirens go off.